Chapter 2, Probability. We'd normally do the first couple of exercises together as a class discussion based. So what I want you to do here is to when I say pause, you pause the video and you think for yourself, and then you can hit play and hear what I've got to say. It's a bit of a one-sided conversation, but it's important that you don't just listen to me, that you pause it and have a think for yourself first of all. It'll show that you understand things or not. So exercise 2A. Each sentence describes a situation where two events are involved. Discuss what the events are and whether they fall into the either or category or into the both and category. So we'll have to recap those categories. They'll make more sense when we do the questions. So number 1, an ordinary 6-sided dice is rolled and scores a 5 or 6. So the events are, the event is you can get a 5 and the other event is a 6. There are two events that we're looking at there. And what categories do they fall into? Well, either you get a 5 or you get a 6. So that's an either or category for number 1. Number 2, 2 dice are rolled and a double 6 is scored. Pause the video yourself to think what are the events, and then are they either or both and. So the two events are, the first one being getting 6 on the first dice, and the second event is getting 6 on the second dice. So there are your two events. And to get a double 6, you get a 6 on the first one, and you get a 6 on the second one. So it's both and category. It isn't an either or. You have to get both and. Number 3, Tim picks a box from a lucky dip. Some boxes contain a prize and others are empty. Hit pause. So this time he's picking from a lucky dip. There are two things that can happen. You can get a prize or you can get no prize. It will be empty. So either you get a prize or you don't get a prize. So that's an either or. You can't get a prize and not get a prize. If you're only, it says Tim picks from a box from a lucky dip. It only does it once. So he either gets a prize or not. Either or. Number 4, the England cricket captain tosses a coin to find out who has the choice to bat or field. Hit pause. So the two events, the event is you can bat, the other event is to field. And either you bat or you field. You can't do both first. A bit of a strange exercise, but just to get you thinking about how events occur, that one. Right, the next bit is about mutually exclusive events. So when an ordinary dice is rolled, it is possible to score either a 5 or a 6. It is not possible to score both a 5 and a 6. Such events are called mutually exclusive. Can you please in your notes write a titled probability, and then I want you to take down that definition. Mutually exclusive events are events which cannot occur at the same time or cannot happen at the same time. So pause your video, put that in, and then come back and listen to me explain that. So when you roll an ordinary dice, you can get a 5 or you can get a 6, but you can't get both of those at the same time. They cannot occur simultaneously. So because they cannot occur at the same time, they are called mutually exclusive. Sometimes two things can happen at the same time. You can roll a 5 and an odd number at the same time. So in which case 5 and odd, they are not mutually exclusive. If you want to put in two examples in your notes, that would be good. You could put in an example. I always get you to think of your own two examples for these. So the textbook ones would be rolling a 5 or a 6. They are mutually exclusive. Rolling a 5 and an odd number, they are not mutually exclusive. But I'd prefer you to think of your own. If you want to ask me, you can message me to check if yours are right or not. On to independent events. When two ordinary dice are rolled, it is possible to score a 6 on the first dice and a 6 on the second dice. Also, the score obtained on the second dice is not affected in any such way by the score on the first dice. Such events where both can happen, but each has no influence on the occurrence or otherwise of the other, are called independent events. So you roll a 6 the first time, it doesn't make it more likely or less likely that you're going to get a 6 on the second go. Actually, what you get on the first one makes no difference to the second one. So they are called independent events when there's no influence on each other. Again, if you could please put that into your notes, that definition for independent events. Independent events are events which have no effect or influence on each other, or take it from here. Classic example I always think about is someone flips a coin. It's definitely a fair coin, and it's heads 10 times. People think, oh, the next time it's got to be tails because it's been heads 10 times in a row. It has to be tails this time. But it's actually still only a half chance of being heads, half chance of being tails. What happens prior does not influence the next event. Now, not all events, back to the book, not all events are independent, as this example shows. There are 2 green sweets and 2 red sweets in a bag. Mary takes one of these sweets, and then Tom takes one. If Mary's sweet is red, there is only 1 out of 3 ways in which Tom can choose a red sweet. But if Mary's sweet is green, there are 2 out of 3 ways in which Tom can choose a red sweet. So the probability that the second sweet is red depends on the colour of the first sweet taken. Or in other words, what Mary takes is going to have an influence, it'll affect what Tom gets. So what Tom gets is dependent on what Mary gets. So if Mary had no influence on Tom, it would be independent. If they have an influence on each other, then they are dependent. Your task now is to write down in your notes an example of 2 independent events and 2 dependent events. There's ones here. These are independent events, rolling a dice and then rolling a dice again. And this here scenario is dependent. But it'll be good to see if you can get your own, even Google some to get some examples down for yourself. Any doubts, just message me. Okay, let's go through exercise 2B. I'd like you to write down your answer to number 1 and then play the video. Then read number 2, do your answer, and then play the video and go through them all and check and see if we match up. It's the best we can do for discussion in this setting. So we have to decide whether the events described are mutually exclusive, independent, or dependent. What would help with these questions when we start is to work out what the events are first of all, and then you can figure out if they're one of these 3 things. So number 1. Mona and Clive each buy a ticket for a raffle and one of them wins first prize. Pause. So it's a raffle. One ticket would be lifted out and that person would win first prize. So they're going to be mutually exclusive events. They can't both win first prize. Either one happens or the other one. They cannot happen at the same time. So they are mutually exclusive events. Number 2. 2 coins are tossed. Part A, the first coin lands heads up or tails up. Pause. So the 2 events are getting heads is one event, tails is the other event. They cannot happen at the same time, so they are mutually exclusive. This is only flipping 1 coin, so either the coin is heads or it's tails. It can't be both. Part B, both coins, so now looking at the 2 coins, both coins land head up. Pause. Okay, this time they can happen at the same time because they're 2 different coins, so they both could land at heads. But if the first one lands at heads, that does not affect the second coin. So they have no influence on each other, so they would be called independent events. Number 3. A 10-pence coin is tossed and a dice is rolled. The coin lands heads up and an even number is scored on the dice. Pause. The first event is the coin landing heads up, and the second event is getting an even number on the dice. They can happen at the same time because they're different. This is about a coin and this is about a dice. What happens with the coin will not affect what happens on the dice, so they are independent events. Part B, A 3 or a 6 is scored on the dice. Pause. So notice we're back to one thing happening, that being the dice being rolled, not the dice and the coin. So when we roll the dice, we'll either get a 3 or we'll get a 6, but we cannot get both of them at the same time. Therefore, they are mutually exclusive. Number 4. A blue bag and a red bag each contains a large number of coins, some of which are counterfeit. One coin is selected at random from each bag. So we have 2 bags. Part A. The coin taken from the blue bag is counterfeit or not. Pause. Well, here we're only looking at the one bag. You're only picking one thing. Either it will be counterfeit or it will not be counterfeit. It cannot be both. That one coin cannot be both counterfeit and not counterfeit. So it's mutually exclusive events there. Part B, both coins are counterfeit. Now this is a different scenario. This is talking about getting a counterfeit in the blue and then getting a counterfeit in the red. They both can happen at the same time because you can get counterfeit here and counterfeit here. However, they do not influence each other. If it's counterfeit in the blue, it doesn't affect if it's counterfeit on the red. So they are independent events. Number 5. Getting there. Hartfield Airport has 100 scheduled flights due to depart on Saturday. 2 or 3 flights are cancelled. Pause. Well, either 2 or 3 flights are cancelled. You can't have both 2 and 3. It's either 2 or 3. So they are mutually exclusive. Cannot happen at the same time. Part B. One flight is cancelled because the plane is faulty, and another flight is cancelled because of a hurricane at its destination. Pause. In this case, the fact that one was cancelled was not affected by the other one. Okay, they're different scenarios. It's not both because of weather. One is faulty, one is the hurricane. So they are independent events. Question 6. A box contains 6 blue pens and 3 red pens. 1 pen is removed at random. Part A. The pen is put back, then a pen is removed again. Pause. Okay, so we're going to pick a pen out, we'll put it back in, and we'll pick another pen. So we're picking 2 pens. The first pick will be your first event, and the second pick, the second event. What you get in the second go is not affected by the first go, because after the first go, when you remove the pen, you put the pen back in again. The pen is put back. So the 2 pens being picked out are independent of each other. So independent events. Part B. The pen is not put back and another pen is removed. Pause. This time, if you pick a pen out and it's red, then the likelihood for the next one to be red is less because there are less in there. If you pick out a blue one on the first go, the chances of getting a blue in the second go are less because there will only be 5 instead of 6. So what happens in the first go this time is affects the second go. So these 2 events are dependent. Adding probabilities. If we select a card at random from a pack of 52, the probability of drawing an ace is 4 out of 52, and the probability of drawing a black king is 2 out of 52. Now, drawing either an ace or a black king involves 2 events that are mutually exclusive, since it is impossible to draw one card which is both an ace and a black king. It'll either be an ace or it'll be a black king, so they are mutually exclusive. There are 4 aces and 2 black kings, so if we want to find the probability of drawing either an ace or a black king, there are 6 cards that we would count as successful. Therefore, the way this is written reads as the P for the probability of an ace or a black king. So the probability of an ace or a black king equals 6 over 52. A recap from year 8. Remember that the probability of an event A happens is probability of A, where the probability of A is the number of ways in which A can occur, or the number of successful outcomes, divided by the total number of the total number of equally likely outcomes. So in your knowledge organizer, you've got that down as number of successful outcomes divided by total number of outcomes. The outcomes do have to be equally likely. So in this case, the probability of an ace is 4 over 52. The probability of a black king is 2 over 52. And then, since 6 over 52 is 4 over 52 plus 2 over 52, it follows that the probability of getting an ace or a black king is the same as just simply doing the probability of an ace plus the probability of a black king. Hopefully that makes sense. Now consider the probability of rolling a 5 or a 6 when a dice is rolled. The probability of scoring 5 or 6 is equal to 2/6. From one roll of a dice, a score of 5 and a score of 6 are mutually exclusive. You can't get these at the same time. They are mutually exclusive. So the probability of getting a 5 is 1/6. The probability of getting a 6 is 1/6. So the probability of getting a 5 or a 6 is 1/6 plus 1/6 or 2/6. In other words, the chances of getting a 5 or 6 is just get the chances of getting a 5 and add the chances of getting a 6. From these examples, we can see this statement here. If A and B are mutually exclusive events, then the probability of A or B equals the probability of A plus the probability of B. It's really important to know that this formula only works if the events are mutually exclusive. If there's an overlap, if A and B can happen at the same time, this is not true. Can you put that into your notes? I think that'll be enough to have that green section there. And that's all from me, so you can have a go at exercise 2C.